Hello, this is Sam Kennedy from VCU Technology Services. Today we're down at the Network Operations Center in the VCU Computer Center located in downtown Richmond. Last Thursday, downtown Richmond had an emergency take place that involved a power outage. So I am with John Gayle of the Network Operations Center and Sean O'Keefe, who is director of the Computer Center here at VCU. Sean, why don't you tell us a little bit about what happened last Thursday that caused this power outage?
Okay, at about 3 p.m. on Thursday, an electrical transformer in a underground power vault at 12th and East Main Street that feeds the Bank of America building exploded. That caused a fire with flames approximately 6 to 12 feet shooting up into the air, and was responded to by quite a large number of fire apparatuses. That explosion caused a ripple effect in power along the East Broad Street corridor, which affected the Pocahontas building. We have two main circuit breakers for the building underground. VEPCO calls them protectors. One was smoked completely and one was damaged. At that point in time, the entire building lost power, which includes, of course, the air conditioning for the computer room. Once the computer room starts heating up, we had to shut all the equipment down. As I said, this was slightly after 3. We did not get power restored to the building until 11 p.m. that night. I'd say by 4:30 we had everything down. The temperature in the computer room was over 100 degrees at that time. Once power was restored, DGS had to bring the main building chillers back up, which takes several hours for them to produce the chilled water we need to cool off the machine room. By 3 o'clock, staff was brought back in to start the storage area network equipment, which must come up first.
Now that was 3 in the morning, right? 3 a.m.
3 in the morning. When I showed up at 5, Clyde Aloshi had already been in since about 3:15. I wasn't surprised to see Clyde, who's the SAN lead. By 6, I had the engineers and the DBAs in. By 7:20, we had all enterprise applications back up and most equipment. By 7:35, we had the dentistry clinical application back up. By 8, there were no reports of anything that was not up. Now, the web was still failed over to Harris Hall, as was the police systems on the AS400. But bringing up that many pieces of equipment in a cohesive manner in less than 90 minutes was very impressive. The computer center staff did very well during this non-exercise.
And that was amazing to me. I mean, the next morning, boom, by 8 o'clock, it seemed like everything was going on. You know, everything was working. I was watching comments on Twitter concerning VCU, and there just weren't any. I mean, it was like business as usual again, which is really great. Okay, so this thing happens, 3 in the afternoon. When did y'all first hear about it, and what was the first kind of thoughts in your mind of, okay, we've got to do something?
Well, we kind of felt it and heard it here in the data center. I guess it was right before 3:30. All the air handlers in the data center shut down and then came immediately back on. It was like a shutter step, and They did it about 8 times. We didn't know what it was quite at first, but the air conditioners did not come back on, so we knew we had an electrical problem.
And at that point, the batteries for the computer center kicked in, and that's the reason the chillers were affected, but not necessarily the equipment itself.
The servers, the SAN, are all on circuits that are backed up by a building-wide battery room. It's not actually a UPS. However, the air conditioning isn't on there, and that's really heat gain is our major problem. Pete Reichard knew to coordinate with John the shutdown when Ken Perdue came in with his iPhone and said, "Look at this," and it was the picture on the Times Dispatch website of the flames shooting up from the power vault. That's when we knew that the power wasn't coming back anytime soon.
Okay, so what was the first steps once y'all knew this?
Take test equipment down. Test servers come down first. Departmental servers come down next, and then what we would call critical applications such as dentistry we try to keep up, but that had to come down. And what really is our choke point is when the SAN has to come down, everything should also already be down. But we kept the web servers up as long as possible. We kept the network equipment up as long as possible. But the decision was made because of the heat gain very quickly that enterprise applications such as notes banner and blackboard were going to have to come down.
So when the storage area network goes down, you start dealing with data integrity, and so that's the reason that the applications that save to that system need to start coming down?
Yes, and we'd like to have those applications down first, so that we can then bring the SAN down in an orderly fashion, which, although the documentation is proprietary and has not yet been shared with us by our storage vendor, as far as we can tell, we did a good job of getting the SAN down cleanly.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so in the NOC here, the Network Operations Center, when did y'all start notifying out to let people know that own some of these systems that are housed down here?
Pretty much immediately. As soon as we knew what the situation was, we started calling out. We notified you, we notified Mark Willis, and let people know what was going on, that things needed to come down quickly, because we did not know how long we were going to have power in the data center, and whether we were going to have issues with equipment coming down in an uncontrolled manner, which could cause problems on the other end when you're trying to bring it back up.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so and you guys did a fabulous job. Like I said, that by 8 o'clock the next morning, everything was up. As you look back a little bit and you can kind of step back from the event a little bit, what are some lessons that y'all learned? What are some things that you take away from an event like this?
First of all, I told my boss, and I'll tell anybody, the response by the engineers, the database administrators, the NOC, was exemplary. This unit has gelled. It has come together in a very effective, cohesive unit. A Windows manager was on vacation. We had a Windows engineer out sick. Windows group still got everything shut down cleanly. It's a testimony to the teamwork and the coordination. It was dark in here, Sam, and you get people getting in each other's way. That wasn't happening. It just the effort by the staff to work together seamlessly was incredible, and management noticed and took effective action. I thought that was what really stood out. Now, what we learned is communication to the customer needs to be improved. Not that they weren't given word, but we have some very proactive administrators and application owners, especially for the enterprise applications, and we will reach out to them and establish a better communication plan of when we think the power is going to be back up, when it is back up, when we're going to bring stuff back up. Some of our customers felt, I have to say this, left in the dark on that. And finally, I want to remind my boss, Mark Willis, that we don't need a December 15th tabletop disaster recovery exercise, because we did it live.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Well, thank you all both. Great job. We very much appreciate it. I know a lot of people at the university appreciate it. All right. Well, this is Sam Kennedy of VCU Technology Services at the VCU Computer Center. Thanks, and have a great day.